Cyberpunk 2077 shouldn't have been an RPG. That's the conclusion I've come to after my initial impressions of the game. It should not have been an RPG. Now, RPG is a term that means like 80 different things right now, but for now, what I mean is a game with an XP, leveling, and loot system. Leveling up yourself, your character, your loot, whatever. It should not have been this game. Honestly, you can say that about a lot of games, to the point that I'll eventually talk about that in what'll likely be my longest video yet. That being said, we are talking specifically Cyberpunk right now, so let's go over why leveling takes away from the game instead of adds to it. So Cyberpunk bills itself as an immersive open world. The devs have all but explicitly said that they don't want you to feel like you're playing a video game. They want you to feel like you're inhabiting a world.
Cyberpunk 2077 marries exploration of a vast open world with kinetic combat, story-changing player choices, and robust character development, all to bring you into our vision of the dark future.
And making your way through it like a person in that world would. But here's the thing. The moment you put numbers into the game, and by numbers I mean upfront numbers like XP, level up, stats, the game becomes about the numbers. The minute you attach XP and loot to something, the action is now linked to your lizard brain, which is the cold, calculated side of your brain that only cares about optimization. And the more lizard brain attachment to the game there is, the harder it is to think of the game as an actual world. Those gangsters aren't a group of people trying to survive a harsh city, they're opportunities for XP. Of course, you have to make sure you use stealth takedowns when you take them out, because that gives even more XP. Also make sure to hide the bodies, because that also gives XP. And if that's not the way you want to play, well, too bad. Once you add XP to your immersive cyberpunk world, everything just becomes one big math equation. It also became that way with the second major RPG mechanic in the game, item stats. Let's talk about the gun stats first, because these really don't need to exist. Honest to God, I don't understand why this game is a looter shooter beyond just looter shooters being popular. Like, I guess I get it. I like the gameplay of Borderlands, getting new numbers is cool, but did this game really need it? No. Again, having to think of this numbers game does not play into the feel of this real, hostile world that you need to survive. It's a gangster's paradise where killing anyone is almost always beneficial to you because of their XP and loot. Let's go back to Borderlands for a second. Ever wonder why the writing in the Borderlands series doesn't take anything seriously? Because it knows that its player base won't either. Once you attach loot and XP to something, you are incentivized to kill it. It doesn't matter if the story says it's good or bad. It doesn't matter, because it's fun to kill things, it's fun to get loot, it's fun to beat a puzzle and a reflex challenge, which essentially is what killing in these games are. So if your story doesn't lean into that feeling, there's a good chance the player base will tune it out. So Borderlands doesn't try to shove a super square story into a circle of killing and looting. It instead asked, what kind of story would meld best with how our players will view and play our game? And the answer is a dark Wild West comedy. You're on a planet far away from civilization, joining essentially a new gold rush, looking for fame, glory, gold, and a vault that's supposedly full of riches. And the only reason anyone goes there is because they want to get rich and don't mind killing people to do it. Just like the player, right? The NPCs don't see killing as this somber, harsh reality. They see it as cool, over the top, and funny, just like the player. Death isn't even permanent. It just costs money, and every time you respawn, the revive station makes a joke.
There he is. Go.
There's an NPC character who wears his capitalist immorality on his sleeve, joking about getting his wares from dead adventurers, and he is one of my favorite characters in the entire series.
Looks like it works to me.
People will literally talk about loot in the game world and wanting to go get it. Loot isn't just a thing that only you see, it's a concept that everybody is after. Even when the main quest changes to be more quote-unquote heroic, it's still about stopping people from getting to a vault, something associated with money and material riches. And it ends up being not only a literal source of power for the enemies, but also a continuous source of loot for players who kill the final boss over and over again. The gameplay of killing enemies to get better gear, to kill better enemies, the gameplay of everything coming second to your own power fantasy is enhanced by a story and a world where that motivation is not only seen as understandable, but is also shared by the people in it. Cyberpunk is not that story. Sure, Night City tempts you to do immoral things with a promise of a nice payday, but it's still supposed to feel harsh. It's supposed to feel like you're in this uncaring world, and the only reason you do things is because you need the money to get by. Killing groups of gang members because they may have a slightly better gun, or because you can sell their guns for a profit, just makes the people in this city feel like generic monsters. You aren't making your way up the food chain, you're farming. It makes any attempts at immersion fall flat. It makes the game feel artificial. It all just screams video game. Same thing goes for the armor system. The armor system is actually worse. The clothes in the game have armor stats. Why? Who? Who in their right mind decided this needed to be in the game? The guys on the Fudgemova channel pointed out this already, but if you really need armor stats, why not just have cybernetic implants act as armor instead? You can pick up enemies' armor cores or something, and the clothes can just be cosmetic, like how clothes are in real life. But no, this game needed one more Skinner box, so now I'm looking at fashion not as a way to better express myself or express my character, or just to make my street samurai look cool as they move through Night City. No, now I'm picking armor based on random stats that make no sense. Why is this cloth hat better than that cloth hat? How does some straps give more protection than a coat? Why are you forcing me to wear a trilby? It's nonsense. Is this how other people pick their clothes? Do people in this world say, well, today I have to drop something off at Barbara's, but that requires me to drive through a rough part of town. Better wear the trilby. Like, is that what fashion is in this world? Or am I the only one with the honor of looking like I failed a speech check at Goodwill? But it's not like these three systems just need tweaking to be good again. They are bad for this game at their core. The general concept of increasing power slowly and incrementally at all just doesn't work with the world and the story being told. And I mean any incremental increase. XP, gun stats, armor stats, even the concept of leveling up all only serve to take away from the immersion of this game. So how would I fix this game? Well, I wouldn't make it an RPG. I would lean hard into the open world and immersive sim aspects of this game and only use stats when absolutely necessary. It would be a GTA clone but with the systems of an immersive sim. Less Destiny, more Dishonored. Let's begin. First off, let's go over the one RPG mechanic that I would keep. Attributes. You will still pick attributes at the beginning of the game, but after that, there'll be no leveling up. No XP, period. So how will you get new abilities? Well, through cyberware. We will remove all the perks that are just stat boosts in the game, and we will convert the remaining perks into cyberware. But then what's stopping you from just buying the best cyberware in the beginning and then stomping every challenge? Well, the game actually already has an answer to this. Reputation. You need a certain amount of street cred to purchase certain cyberware. We could also allow players to purchase additional slots and maybe start them off with less slots and end the game with more. So that's leveling and XP taken care of, but what about the gun system? Well, let's gut the gun system. In fact, let's gut the entire loot system altogether. No more weapons or attachments that are identical in every way except one has a slightly better number. I think a good way to go with the weapons would be something close to the Fallout 4 or Far Cry or Call of Duty. You don't collect weapons, you have weapon slots. There are a handful of weapons that are all different and always have the same stats. However, there are weapon attachments that can be added or removed at will. Like the weapons, there won't be two identical scopes that are the same functionally but slightly different stat-wise. The scopes will just be scopes, so you can see farther, and there'll be different types of scopes depending on how far you want to see. The silencers will make you able to do stealth kills, but there won't be a more stealthy silencer. You get the idea. This does two really good things. First off, it reduces the tedium of looting. You don't have to check every single gun on every dead enemy to see if you picked up something that did more damage. The most you'll have to do is see if a gun has some attachments you don't have, and even then, we could let players just loot the attachments and nothing else. But second, it allows you to get attached to your guns. We could let players paint and customize how their guns look with cool pre-made icons and cosmetic attachments. Maybe some of them are restricted to certain groups, so you can have a voodoo boy's charm on your weapon after helping them with a quest. Clothes we've already discussed, but to reiterate, they shouldn't have stats, and armor increases should only come from a few cyberwares you can buy, maybe a bulletproof vest or some armor, but nothing more than that. There shouldn't be too much armor. It's more whether or not you would like to have protection at all, if that makes sense. One stat that I think would go well with clothes would be reputation. Maybe you can make the clothes determine how people react to you. Like corpos would treat you better if you were wearing a nice suit, but street kids would only see the suit and not want to party with you. Stuff like that. It's not just armor and guns I want removed though. I want most of the looting and inventory management gone too. I was thinking we could have an optional backpack or a duffel bag that takes into account both weight and size of items you pick up, and this bag isn't going to be just for junk. It'll also hold your ammo, healing, and grenades, all of which have sizes and weight values. There could be some junk collecting, but it should not be a continuous and major source of money for you that you're encouraged to do the entire game. Instead, junk collecting should be how it is in the real world, something you only do when you are very poor. You start off the game with nothing but a bag on your back, and you fill your bag with junk to scrape just enough money together to get by. Once you're in the big leagues though, that bag that was once full of junk now needs to be full of ammo, healing, grenades, off-the-grid money so you can make back alley deals without any traces. Now, the same backpack that once represented you in rags represents you in riches. It's like character development through game systems. It'd be cool. But the limited inventory and maybe making stealth harder the more you weigh could discourage players from trying to collect all the junk in the universe, especially when picking up items is still this frustrating. Like, look at this. How is this still in the game? Overall, I think that what Cyberpunk needed was focus. Give me a decent variety of guns with meaningful differences, make the gains in power less frequent but more meaningful, let everything I can get change the way I play the game. The cyberware arm attachments do a really good job of this. The gorilla arms or mantis arms are genuinely really cool and feel cool to have unlocked. They change the way you play the game and offer you new options. They feel like an actual product being sold in a corporate dystopia and not another boring stat boost. I just want that same philosophy to be applied everywhere else. I really wanted to like Cyberpunk, I really did, but it's not a world for me to explore, it's just Borderlands without any of the self-awareness. Every aspect of this gameplay pulls me out of the world, and honestly, as weird as it is for me to say, I wish that CDPR didn't make an RPG.